out. One thing I think last time I said to bed. So you can go ahead and hang out here a little bit. You know what I mean? Don't wait. Or just you not do it now.
You have to. Don't go. So basically what I need is that plus button over there where you see the icon of a person's head. So I can send it. Not there, right there, that head, yeah. It's not, it's for some reason the buttons aren't matching. Oh, give me that mouse. You got that mouse plugged in? Let me see, hold on.
Sorry, y'all.
What is it?
It's
there it goes.
Yeah, there it goes.
Tell him to check his spam. Let me do mine just in case. So.
Getting rid of the.
Okay.
We are live.
See, this is what it show up like.
What happened?
So I'm testing it to make sure it works. So I have Google Hangout. So that's.
Oh, I thought that's what showed up on the screen.
No. No.
I was like, oh my God, they're gonna get mad.
No.
Whew, y'all.
Hey, Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank here. If you're watching this video, that means I'm on my way.
Oh, my God. Oh, there you are, look.
See, that's how he would be. If he had Google Hangout.
I know, that's what.
He has a back and forth conversation. He has it.
He has it.
Okay, I'm just testing. But that's how it would be, a back and forth conversation. So every time he would talk, it would show up. He would show up. Every time you would talk, it would show up. But if
yeah, he's supposed to have it.
Okay, let me get in the chat room.
Okay.
Here. So yeah, I sent it to him.
He'll join it when he joins it, right?
I hope so.
Oh my gosh, y'all. We have so much going on that I apologize again for all the crazy delays. There is definitely a lot going on in the space right now as far as everything going on. And we've got some first. Did you want to put that link in the embed it in the thing from the new site in the thing so people can join up if they want to?
Okay, I'll put it in there later.
Okay.
I got to get it first, so give me a second. I'm still trying to get into the show. Let's see, where is it?
You guys, sorry about the technical difficulties here real quick.
Let me go.
I just sent it to you.
All right. Let me get in here.
How are y'all doing tonight anyway? Y'all doing okay?
184 people.
Yeah, right on. We got a lot going on. Man, I haven't even done the thumbnail yet. Oh my gosh, I've been so busy. You guys just don't know. You probably have lots of questions about stuff you've seen go up. There's launchings. I told you guys we were going to do something. We did it. Okay. Okay. I got news. I got news upon news upon news. Okay. You want to start with ladies first? Oh, and by the way, Robert, I sent Robert Ben the link to come on, and I called him. He didn't answer, so I'm going ahead with the show. It's showtime. Ladies first.
I'm April Beebe.
And I am the humble Mr. Brando. And welcome to the status of the reinstatement of the Iraqi Dinar IQD and World Chat. Now, there is so much going on. You heard the theme song. You know what it is. So let's talk about news real quick because we got news going out. Then let's talk about what's going on in Iraq. Let's talk about, at the end, our new platform, everything that's going on, okay? And then let's give everybody an opportunity to kind of understand what we're doing and why we're doing it, okay? So first things first, Turkey is turning to Iraq, especially after the tougher sanctions against Iran. Turkey's looking for ways to increase its purchases of Iraq oil after the U.S. decision to end the exemptions granted to a group of countries, including Turkey, to buy Iranian oil. And I said this before, and I'll say it again. A lot of people were like, well, I don't see how anything good can come of this because they, denied Mahdi a visit. Well, they denied Mahdi a visit because they wanted to see his exact stance on what's going on in the Middle East. You see what I'm saying? Why would we let you come to Washington, or why would we even have a visit schedule? And they still want to have a visit schedule. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they don't. What they're saying is that we just want a clear understanding. Mahdi, are you friend or are you foe? You see what I'm saying? That's it. That's all they want to know. Are you with us or are you against us? And that's what they want to know. Now, Turkey has announced that it will be working with working with Iran to develop a mechanism to circumvent U.S. sanctions. Remember, I'll read this to you guys. There was a huge thing about Russia, and that's the reason why I didn't want Russia dealing with Iraq. Russia, Syria, and somebody else that was money laundering through Russia and Iran were money laundering through Syria, and that was one of the other reasons why I didn't want them to be able to have. Clean my nose, please. I can't help it that I have allergies, y'all. If you don't want to hear my sniffles, catch the replay. Don't do the live. Sorry. I'm extremely sensitive to pollen, and it's either sniffle or don't do a show. You tell me. I won't name any names. But they were trying to figure out ways to money launder through Syria, which is no secret. Syria is not one of the places that we have a good presence there, but we don't always have a great relationship because of the Hezbollah and the Iranian Guard. The Iranian Guard has a big foothold there in Syria and in Iraq, and they money launder through there. And for the Iranian Guard, that 30% of the whole GDP of Iran goes through there, and that's why being able to cut them off at the knees and label them a terrorist group was important. So remember, it doesn't just affect Iraq as a trade partner when you start dealing with like Jordan and Syria and Bahrain, but it also affects Iran geopolitically. Remember, the way the policy reads, that if these people are treated as terrorists and they're treated as bad people, then you don't want to be able to have them on site, because if there's a conflict, they will shoot back now. They've told us that. There is not any hesitation. They don't like each other. In anticipation of economic sanctions affecting Russia, is looking to use local currencies with Iraq instead of the dollar. Iraq and Russia are seeking to use national currencies in the commercial transactions instead of the dollar. Russia's been trying to dump the dollar. They've thought of ways to circumvent the dollar for weeks, days, whatever you want to say, because Russia is broke. I keep saying that Russia is in big trouble, so is China. And even though Russia's made these large purchases of gold to help sustain and hedge their economy's not growing any. And because they don't have that oil export that they're going to be able to lean on with the OPEC, they're becoming more and more broken. So they're trying to develop trade partnerships that are going to be in favor of Russia. I understand where that stands for geopolitically, because they're not a part of the OPEC party. Where that sits with Russia, Iraq, and all these people. So what the United States has done is position Iraq as being one of the top producers for OPEC as well as Saudi Arabia. And as long as they play ball, they're going to introduce that peace project here by Jared Kushner. With that peace project, is going to come incentives for them all playing ball together. Part of those incentives for playing ball together is not playing ball with Iran. You play ball with Iran and you fund terrorism, then that's going to affect you geopolitically. It's going to hurt you. And that's the incentive behind why are they going to play ball eventually in that region? Because if they don't, they know that those sanctions and that they know that Middle East sanctions amongst just themselves is going to punch them to the point where you're not going to be able to do any business. You see what I'm saying? So I don't care what anybody tells me. This one person got on the I had to block him this time. I usually don't mind a valid point, but his whole point to everything is the reason why it hasn't happened is because it hasn't happened. Well, and then he spews out this stuff about God and that God's the only person that can let this happen. I believe that. But when you're dealing with something that is so ungodly like money and you're dealing with people that don't always believe in the same gods, I just think that when you're trying to pray to God, I don't think that he's going to bend their ear the same way that he's going to bend my ear, because the way my relationship is with the Lord may not be the same reason that the Halak's relationship is with the Lord. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he doesn't believe in God. I'm just saying that sometimes it's going to be a little translation difference. So I'm not going to sit here and put God in the middle of it when I'm dealing with something that doesn't have a lot of God to do with it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not going to base my whole argument on it as it hasn't happened, so therefore it won't happen. It hasn't happened because the criteria hasn't been met. When the criteria is met, then it will happen. Okay, a popular destination for visitors of the IMF in Washington, D.C. A lot of people like to go over there and they like to look at all the currencies that are on the wall. This is very important because when they go look at the currencies, currency is perceived as stability. Excuse me. Stability, and that stability comes with policy. When you have a strong policy economically, you have typically a strong currency, and you have a strong presence in the international community. Induction of a new currency, for some reason, is necessary, but it has to come out with some preconditions. Sound macroeconomic policies and a strong financial sector legislation. We've talked about that. Ideally, be placed or underweight. Careful preparation is required, setting up the policies and the process of reform and drafting a detailed budget for the entire currency reform, including the cost of printing and minting the new currency cash. Now, do you see that? A strong budget. We talked about the budget. We talked about how it doesn't need to be full of a bunch of holes and a bunch of stuff in there that doesn't go to funding that's not important. And that policy needs to be strong because, remember, without a strong economic stability, it doesn't make for a political stability, which we talked about before, and that's one reason why the currency cannot revalue. The government facing currency reform often has limited ability to pursue macroeconomic policy. If the country is suffering from hyperinflation, which we know Iraq is not, its macroeconomic policies to date, by definitions, were unsound. Meaning that if you have a bunch of hyperinflation, which they don't, that means they're sound macroeconomically wise, right? Now, what they're trying to do is get past the psychology of it all and implement some of those laws. And I'll tell you which laws are going to come into effect. And those are going to help for currency reform. Now, currency reform is unlikely to resolve such problems and yield its benefits only if underpinned by fiscal and monetary action. But psychologically introducing new currency can itself facilitate the stabilization of the economy. That's what the IMF says. Sorry about that, guys. The IMF business of putting countries on their feet. They take a country that's a rentier state, like in Iraq, they get them loans. They get them loans that are below what they call the prime level within a bank, and it allows them to boost their economy. They're not there to loan money so they can get rich or for them to default on their bills. Understand that. You see what I'm saying? It's not there so people can just say, well, we ain't going to pay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, remember I told you guys last time I saw 2 or 3 articles that said Alak was going to be replaced as the governor of the CBI. I know it says the source says Fiat. I had the article, but it says Fiat is willing to give up the security advisor's position to be the governor, the central bank governor of Iraq. Now, it says the situation brings us back to square one, which is the commonality and division of job sites, and this brings us out of change and reform and the evaluation of state institution, which made a big gap, noting that we are understanding about waiving out the opposition and the reasons to not to consult and go into detail and structures of ministries. the Prime Minister Mahdi, and if they go in that direction, it is wrong and generates a new return to the subject of quotas and the survival of corruption and consolidation. My whole point to that was to tell you this. So, you know that even Iraqis know, and even the media knows, that if you put Fayyad in the central bank governor position, which ain't going to happen, okay? I asked my friend from Iraq about that, and he told me the names that they were considering for the central bank governor. It just wasn't legible for me to say on the air. You know what I'm saying? Also, he said that, look, we asked him point blank, are you thinking about replacing him before or after Ramadan? And he did not get back to me. So when he announces that, I'm going to announce it on a couple different platforms.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just trying to look at something.
Okay.
Do you need some cleaning?
Is it bothering everybody? Am I sniffling?
I mean,
is it?
It is what it is, but you need some cleaning.
What?
You can't control it.
I can't. It's either that or I have to shut this off.
Do you want some Kleenex?
I have a napkin.
Oh, okay. As long as you got some.
Okay. Yeah. So sorry, y'all. It's either that or don't report the news. So I apologize for my sniffles. I suffer from allergies. My allergies are crushing sometimes. I had to take a nap before the show today. It was either that or don't do the show, and I thought doing the show is more important. The cabinet approves agreement for Siemens. Now, remember, it came down to Siemens and GE as far as who they were going to go with for the electrical program in Iraq. They went ahead and went with Siemens. Siemens signed all the contracts. They're getting to work. Now, it's kind of interesting time is that they went with Siemens, the German company, instead of GE, the American company, especially the shambles that GE is in. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of made sense that they went with with Siemens instead of General Electric. But I just thought it was interesting to note that Siemens did get the contract. Okay, I got an article here that it says the Bank of Baghdad, the central bank of Iraq, has succeeded in strengthening the pillars of the monetary stability. The chairman of the board of directors of Baghdad, Ismail Sharif, at the Central Bank of Iraq. Now, a lot of people don't understand when they talk about Ismail. Sometimes they talk about Allah because we know him as Ali al-Alaq, but his name is Ismail something. In 2018, the Central Bank of Iraq, through strategy of maintaining monetary policy and strengthening the pillars of monetary stability despite the circumstances, was able to succeed in overcoming these conditions. Now, remember, one of the big conditions that they had going on is that they controlled inflation. But what they didn't do was stimulate inclusion, which made more people come to the bank, which we talked about last time. You want more people to come to the bank, you got to give them a reason to come to the bank, correct? Mm-hmm. So without having a reason to buy, they're not going to come to the bank, even though financial inclusion week, they said was a very, very good thing this week. They have been able to grow in financial position, the size and customer deposits, and they've already come over with a capital adequacy ratio reaching 127%. So basically, if you come from having very little inclusion, they've already doubled, tripled, quadrupled the amount of inclusion that they have going on. They're just not able to, you see them get over the fence. Now, remember, you got to offer goods and services beyond deposits, beyond loans, beyond cards. That's where you're going to have the idea of, what other things can we get the people interested in the bank, right? And they're coming up with that. They've done a pretty good job. Oh, sorry.
Somebody said, Anthony said, why must POTUS be out of the country?
POTUS doesn't have to be out of the country. They could do anything they want with him in country. You see what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So you done with that question?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Whether a person is in the office or out of the office has nothing to do with the central bank. It's just like Mahdi being in country or out of country has zero to do with Allah. You know what I mean? Lifting the zeros and introducing a new currency, not the new currency, the lower denomination, what they're calling the new currencies. You see what I'm saying? There's no new currency. I keep trying to stress that to people. There's no new currency. There's only lower denominations. That's why if you saw that picture I posted up on Twitter, it turned out to be the $10,000 note. You can't see in that booklet in his hand, which is so ironic that he was looking at that bank in Basra, that he was looking at that picture was nothing but notes. He was looking at nothing but the bank that they were holding up these notes. It looked like about security and stuff like that. He was actually looking at, I zoomed in on the picture. You just can't really typically tell what notes he was looking at. Okay.
And Casey wants to know, why didn't any of the dates pan out in April? Did something block it?
Nothing blocked it. Something didn't go through. Number one, we didn't see them seat the government. That's one thing that didn't happen. Number two, they didn't pass the laws. Well, they have the laws that are like the financial management bill. That didn't go into effect. They didn't amend the investment law. They didn't go ahead and seat the government, like I said. They didn't do some of the benchmarks. If you guys have been watching the show, those things didn't happen. I believe the reason why those things didn't happen is, A, Mohandi's an ineffective leader in some regards. Number two, he was more worried about the ban being lifted as far as sanctions being met between Iraq and some of these other people, and him trying to sign all his memorandums of understanding instead of putting in place the laws to open up trade agreements. So I think that Mohandi's inability to lead properly kind of thought he was going to get a pass on far as the sanctions went, and it really threw him for a loop when President Trump said, no more time for that. You guys are going to have to stop doing business with Iran. They went ahead and labeled Iran's Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization. And now what's going to happen is you're going to have to figure out a way to do business without them. And those things didn't happen. And with that, accompanied with that, with the electricity, it sent Iraq into a turmoil, and they were not able to evaluate the Iraqi dinar. Now, I believe that now when everybody was all up in an uproar about them seating the government, and I said, look, it's important to understand seating the government's a benchmark that they haven't had done in over 15 years since they've had a democracy. So that's very, very important. We see in an article coming up that they're going to seat the government hopefully by Saturday. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So between Saturday, and I know it's not exactly then, there's works happening now to get things underway, to get them seated and get them rocking and rolling. Okay? Now, first, it is important to know the problem of the IMF is not with Iraq. This is an article about the IMF. But with the policies of the state of institutions in Iraq. That's the reason why you haven't had a revaluation. It's not, and remember, the IMF and the U.S. Treasury are the ones that really, if you want to just say, are the main focal points of the revaluation. Those are it. And the IMF is telling you, it's the policies of the state, which are considered inefficient in managing the economy of the country, which force the country to borrow time after time. Remember, they're trying to get them off of the rentier stage and onto the stage of, hey, look, we're going to have an opportunity to, you know what I'm saying, be a self-governing body and not being a rentier inefficiency, but being the efficiency of, you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We can handle our own business. In the sense that the IMF does not go to states to advise them whatever their policies are wrong and destructive, it is the countries that go to the International Monetary Fund to ask for advice and support when it's about to sink into a quagmire of bankruptcy. Examples of the wrong policies. So these are some of the reasons why they didn't revalue their currency. Number one, the currency auctions. They said the policy, one of the most important files criticized by the International Monetary Fund, which is considered an illogical policy in managing the country's economy. That was the other thing I told you guys that I wanted to see come to a stop, or at least them come to a way to counterbalance that for their day-to-day economy, or commerce, is to stop the currency auctions. If somehow you could stop the currency auctions, right? Which the only way you could really stop the currency auction is stimulate the private sector, right? So remember, one goes with the other. Without the auctions, they can't run their day-to-day because they don't have enough cash flow in the country. Because even though the oil does the majority of the heavy lifting, it doesn't do it all. The currency auctions do the day-to-day. They didn't stop the auctions. They didn't stimulate more of the private sector. And so that's one of the reasons why they didn't revalue their currency. Number two, the fixed exchange rate is a policy to maintain price stability and the market support, all in order to help the poor class of people. This is undoubtedly a goal. So they tell you right there, they didn't change, they didn't increase the exchange rate by raising the exchange rate to a realistic rate. It didn't help with market stability. Okay, from the point of view, the CBI can be linked as charity to help the poor, then go to the market and spread money by passersby. The poor will get the money they need, but the money will be shared by the privileged, wealthy, and traders in the market. It's kind of like what we say here. The rich got rich, the poor kept poor. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, the IMF believes that the economic policy and other policies which are wasting the wealth of Iraq in vain without being reflected on the lives of the citizens. Get rid of the auctions, increase the rate. That money then trickles down to the citizens. By increasing the private sectors, it puts more of your people at work, which stimulates your taxation, which stimulates the government from getting off of the whole being on a budget, meaning that the state budget, and you're drawing from that and put you on the private sector, which generates its own cash flow, it takes money. It doesn't take the money away from the state. You see what I'm saying? All hugely affecting the outcome of the economy. Okay, now this is one of the things that I want you guys to see right here. Parliament is going to pass next week. This came out the other day. Policies, they're going to pass laws this week. It says, Akwabi said in a statement, the Covenant News, the laws sent most of service such as the draft law and the financial management law. What I just say? I just said one of the reasons why you didn't see a reevaluation is that law, law about the financial management law didn't get passed. Now they're saying this week they're going to pass that law. Bingo, bango, bongo. Okay? That law is hugely important because that is the instrument in which they can raise the exchange rate without any hesitation. Without having that law into place, it's very difficult for them to do what they need to do. It says the legislation is so frustrating and needs a strong political management to move, knowing that the role of Parliament should be in monitoring the government's work and correct course. And it says between now and next Monday, they will pass the largest number of those laws. Sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
So what about the HCL?
Okay, so the HCL, that's the hydrocarbon law. That's one more thing that you didn't see come into play. And I was going to talk to you guys about that too today. I had a theory about that. Can you hold that thought for just a second there?
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying hold that HCL thought, because when it comes to one of these articles, I'm going to tell you about how you can solve the HCL law. And with that, you have to have what's called a census done. And I'll show you how that can be done. Okay? Pretty easily, by the way. Iran ranks all American forces in the Middle East as terrorists. This is a super interesting article because any Americans that are in the Middle East, Iran is labeling as a terrorist organization. Now, remember, Trump is going to might go ahead and label the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. They're already watching Syria for money laundering, and they've labeled Iran a terrorist organization. So what they're trying to do is get the very, very corrupt out of the place. And they've already included several entities and individuals on the blacklist for belonging to the Revolutionary Guard, but the entire Revolutionary Guard were not included until Trump issued his decision. Now, it's kind of funny that they haven't passed those financial laws, but Habusi the other day went back to the U.S. companies and said, hey, you guys need to come on in here to Iraq and start your work. We need you guys to get rocking and rolling. We need for you guys to do work in country. That's a continued security operation between Baghdad and Washington to eliminate the cells of organization calling for terrorism and provide assistance. He called on U.S. companies to get into Iraq and contribute to the reconstruction of liberated and underserved areas. Well, those places can't come in unless you have the proper laws in place and free capital flow and a realistic rate for exchange, so therefore the companies can do business. So Siemens gets the winning bid for $15 billion in Iraq. I told you about that. Iraq and Saudi Arabia are going to reopen their border. It's been closed for basically the last 30 years. It's about 800 kilometers. This is a symbolic thing. It hasn't been happening. Okay, and this is the note I put to myself. Just think if on a micro level, the way that the citizens got these entitlement cards. Okay, so let's talk about HCL for a second. The HCL law basically is kind of like our hydrocarbon law that's in Alaska. Each citizen gets a certain amount of money for living there or being from there or whatever, right? So you say, well, there has to be a consensus. Well, remember, recently they just issued all those Q cards to the poor and entitled, right? And because they've made it all electronic, they had to register those cards. That's kind of like a mini census. So you actually don't have to do a physical census because you know the unemployment rate in Iraq, right? So you know how many people aren't working, right? Because you have those cards, correct?
Yeah.
So if you took an example of that, well, we don't have to have an accurate count because there's no more ghost funds, basically. If you use those cards as a census, you'd have a good idea who's going to be on the hydrocarbon law. So now, that basically, if they didn't do the sovereign wealth fund like we talked about last podcast, and they actually took that 10% right now and then did the sovereign wealth later on, but take that 10% and that funded the HCL law, accompany that with the census of those Q cards, then you could actually pull off the hydrocarbon law. So actually a lot closer to that than what it seems. Because if everybody's waiting on an official census to take place, it may not be able to happen like that because you have so many displaced people from the war. You see what I'm saying? So it's very difficult to have that action happen. The newspaper said in analysis, Iraqi banking market, the number of Iraqis over the age of 15 years old who now have a bank account has reached 23%, twice the portion in 2011. Remember I told you they had 127% up in the inclusion of the banks? Well, this is part of the reason why. Pup next door is upset.
She been upset all day.
Okay, so this is something that somebody I had seen here. On the technical side, someone asked me about Basel III and about Iraqi banks weren't Basel III compliant. And on the technical side, issued by the Central Bank of Iraq, instructions for the application of the capital adequacy. Remember, capital adequacy was basically $500 million, according to the Basel III standards, which began to be applied permanently on the data of the third quarter, and the fourth will be adopted. So last year, they were actually Basel III compliant, but it fully will not be adopted until the year 2019. That's when they'll be fully compliant. So they're already Basel III compliant. Something here about the Bank of Baghdad. Oops, it's all in Arabic, so we'll skip it. Okay, this is what I wanted to read you guys. It says, how Iran circumvents U.S. sanctions, 3 ways are exposed. Iran and Malaysia, Iran and Russia. Now, this is the one I was trying to tell you. It says Steve Mnuchin, Trump's secretary, recently confirmed that Russia, Syria, and Iran were involved in a highly intricate operation to launder money in and out of Syria in order to generate funds for Iran's continued pursuit of military and political hegemony in the Middle East, with Mnuchin admitting that a complex scheme between Iran and Russia have been used to bolster Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria to generate funds for Iran malign activity. The scheme begins with a
What's wrong? Ben?
That's Ben, yeah.
Yeah. He sent me a message on, he said he's almost set up. But I don't know how to do it from here.
Do it.
Like, he just sent me a thing on here saying he's almost set up.
Okay, I'm just going through the news, so it works out perfectly. It said much of the revenue that makes its way into Syria and neighboring Lebanon, where Iran's close allies, the Shiite terrorist organization, the Hezbollah, have access to the international offshore accounts. Some of the income from the transfer of oil returns to Iran via the import of goods. Now, they have Russia has gone as far as to have a very intricate scheme from a company, and that company's called, it starts with a P. I had it here. Sorry, I forgot the name of it, but I had this company, and it was around since the old Cold War era. And what they do is they had a way of faking out and selling producing fake invoices, doing all this stuff. It was very intricately put to where Iran could ship out their fake invoices so they could circumvent and sell oil, basically to keep their thing afloat. In the next couple of days, Parliament said Jordan will become a boom with Iraq in relations. Remember, Jordan is part of those group of people that we want to see Iraq do business with. And it says now that Jordan is keen in strengthening. Oh, could you send them another link? Okay, Ben, hang on. We'll send you another one. She just sent you one, too.
I don't know how to do it. It's not. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Check your spam.
Yeah, because it's in there. I see it, but I don't. It doesn't give me a URL.
Okay, your link has been sent again, Ben. Sorry about that. Okay, about freezing Mohandi's visit. What the U.S. basically said about freezing the visit was.
See, he's right there in there.
Is he in the thing?
He's got to hit accept.
Ben, you just got to hit accept. Once you hit accept, is it in?
See, if I hit accept, I mean, I'm in there, but that doesn't do anything for me. Or for him.
You got to hit accept, Ben, for the Google Hangouts portion.
Hold on. Okay, let me figure out something. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so with that, the United States perhaps waiting on the reception of Hondi to identify the point. Are you with us or are you against us? And that's really what the United States is really saying before they have him officially there for a big visit, I think. And he's already been to like Paris and some other places. I told you guys about, again, I found another article about replacing a lock. And they're even willing to transfer over Fahoud over there, which again,
keep talking.
Again, which that does for us is it lets you know, again, if they were totally satisfied with the lock, totally satisfied with what's going on. Oh, he says he got it. Okay, he got it.
Okay.
Okay, well, come on when you're ready so we can announce our new news. We got special guests coming up tonight. Again, we got the Matrix portfolio guys when they come on here. We're going to announce the new platform. We're going to announce what we're doing. I'm going to answer some questions about what it is and how it is.
Kevin wants to know what's the IQD worth today.
Same as it was yesterday, 0.0003084 or 1190 on your TV screen.
Okay, and you answered the HCL.
Yes, and I also told you how you can perform a mini census with using those cue cards and how that you can know that's legit because they're also going to pay by those measures anyway. So using those cue cards as the census will allow you to know who's in and out of country.
Your subbies are funny. They're giving you a hard time about your nose, but in a cute way. Some people are offering you relief. I was telling some, they're like, take a Claritin. I'm like, that's Claritin I give you, and it doesn't work.
You guys don't understand the strength of my allergies. My allergies are, I took 2 Claritins this morning.
Your boy Seamus said do a big old line of Coke.
Hey, that's a way for us to get rich. Mr. Brando, straight on to the future. You think YouTube's messing with me now?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Coke jokes out there.
Oh, okay. The booger sugar? Yeah. They're trying to get me on the booger sugar?
Somebody said cocaine is a hell of a drug. That was Frankie. Frankie said that.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Okay, so coming in 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Oh my gosh, that's late. I need you now.
Yeah, the show will be over. Guess we can take calls.
We can take calls until then. It won't take long to announce the new platform and stuff. Everybody's probably got questions about the new. Pempe wants to call in real quick.
Pempe has a dog named McLovin.
I love McLovin.
I have to show you. I'm like, oh, maybe Daisy could play with McLovin.
Michelle said, I could care less about the stuff he knows, Mr. Brando.
Yeah.
You just keep up with the info.
There are some good ones. I was going to show you later because I was like, I know you're over here struggling. Like this one here, Reality did this like smoke coming out your nose and say, keep talking, Mr. Snotty. Like your crew, they're like some David Chappelle's out.
All right. Give it to me, y'all. But look, as soon as I don't give the news, y'all be giving me crap about that too.
Oh yeah, Dwayne said, "Who sneezed on you?" I didn't. I'm not sick.
I'm not sick either. I just have allergies.
And that's the one that don't cover sneeze or cough. But I ain't do it. That's just his allergies, and that's Houston's weather. There go Pempe.
Uncle Luke. Hey, Uncle Luke. Wrong phone.
Got 2 phones.
I was pushing buttons. I said, okay, and now look. And I was like, oh, that's April's number.
You can call either one. It kind of doesn't matter.
Well, I'm about out of juice, but I'm glad you called.
Stop, McLovin, gosh damn it. He's trying to interrupt. He sticks his face over my mouth, and then you'll hear him go, no. He doesn't want me talking on the phone.
McLovin.
Aww.
McLovin's
a cutie.
Yeah, he's a little pain in the ass, so.
Hey, brother, you got any more to share?
And then the alpha woman, that's her name is Lizzie Buba. She's about twice his size, and she's alpha, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. We have an alpha female named Daisy.
Yeah. So she lets him get away with stuff, but if he bothers me too much, she just whips his ass real quick, and everything's good.
Oh my gosh. Use a tampon, Mr.
Did you see
D.
the thing I just posted about the them guys putting those guys' trips on suspension.
What?
No, say that again.
The Iraq Parliament has requested the prime ministers to suspend their trips so they can get stuff done. I just posted it.
Oh, good.
Part of the article. Hold on, let me find it for you real quick. It says the head of the House of Representatives, Mohammed Halabasi, would say to stop the House of Representatives and the extension meeting to resolve the files before council. So there, and the article goes on to say that he's trying to tell them to suspend their trips. You know how everybody keeps taking off?
Yeah.
They don't get things accomplished?
Yes.
Yeah, the article I was reading was saying that these people are tired of it. They want to get things done. So, hey, I was supporting that. What else was there? Well, that's the big news, actually. Then we all know what's going on in Venezuela. I know me and you were talking about this. I said,
going to be in April. Hold on, Pimpe. Let me address somebody. Their name is Anas Fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Do I still think the RV is going to happen in April? Well, via that it's May 1st, I would probably gather to say that no, it didn't happen. But if you've been
technically, it could be April next year. You can just say yes.
Well, I mean, of course, but see, the whole thing about that is I explained to you why it didn't happen. The government wasn't seated. All the things I've been saying the whole time, the government wasn't seated. The laws weren't passed. Now, what you're going to say is, well, that's always happened. That's always happened. That's your excuse. But before you didn't know the laws that need to be passed or the benchmarks that need to be met so that those laws could go into effect and that could help raise the exchange rate. So by saying to me that, do I still think April was going to happen? Damn straight I thought April was going to happen.
I thought so for sure.
If I could have bet every IQD, in my safe that it wasn't going to happen, I probably would be a loser right now. And the reason why is because we were lined up to see a revaluation. I don't care what any of you folks would say about that because we've done the research to show that it would have.
Yeah, I mean, I was willing to bet the house as well. That
was
going to happen. I absolutely thought for sure it was going to happen.
Man, I'm telling you, I could have sworn it would have been April. I could have sworn it. So you tell me, okay, so my question for somebody, and I got Pepe on the phone, and Pepe's a smart guy. We'll ask him. So Pepe, we know why it didn't happen, right? So he uses to say, well, it didn't happen because it didn't happen. But do you agree in the point where they didn't pass the
water's wet?
Right. Or you know what? I'm really smart because I can predict that it didn't happen, and it didn't happen because God said it wouldn't happen. Well, no stuff. Good job. Way to be 100% on the 2020 or on the 100% afterthought. But most of y'all are riding right there with me when I said April because everything lined up. So I get it, but I don't. And you know what? I'll still stand behind the April theory. Now, does my time frames change till May 5th?
Well, no, wait a minute. You know what? We talked about this. Have you ever, and you guys have been at this longer than I have, and there's people in the group that's even been at it longer. Mm-hmm. Have any of us ever seen so much activity in such a short period of time?
Never.
Like we've seen over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of reason to believe that this was going to be done in April. I thought for sure it was going to be done right before, and I was pushing for it to be done before Ramadan is really what I was hoping for, because I thought this would really give the people something to celebrate. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still a couple days, but I thought for sure in April. Now we got the financial inclusion happening, and it's almost getting ready to wrap up. So again, you keep going. Every time this new thing happens, you're like, man, there's reason to be excited as soon as this happens. You know, there is plenty of reasons for that, and it's because, and the reason why we keep doing this is because there's no reason for it not to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing that we could see, but all the I's seem to be dotted and T's crossed. So, you know, the articles were already voted on, the edits were made, the amendments were done. Outside the article, what is that?
Hold on. 8. Let me say this. So, Anise, is am I saying it right? Anise Fashion? I'm not making fun of you, honey or sir, and I'm not trying to get on you. I'm just saying the reason why it didn't happen, and I'm not trying to call you out. What I'm saying is these are the reasons why it didn't happen. So unlike your other groups out there that preach every weekend, it's going to happen y'all get ready. Saturday, it's going to happen. Saturday, it's going to happen. Saturday, it's going to happen. No, I don't do that. I said that month because I believed in the benchmarks and everything like that. It didn't happen. I was wrong. I tweeted it. I put it on Facebook. I put it everywhere. I said, you know what, y'all? People are going to call me overly optimistic based upon my own research. I was wrong, and I apologize. right?
It's not going to be wrong. We're just, it's just our opinion, and we are explaining why we felt that way. But it's funny you should said that. I actually saw an old video. Wasn't paying attention to the date that it was posted, and this guy was like, "Yes, it's going to happen this weekend," and I was like, "Oh wow, man! I wonder what he does." And then I realized the video was from 2012. I was like, "Wow, this has really been going on this long." And what you hear over this person's videos over and over is they keep saying the same thing, but they never say why they feel that way.
And I can tell you why I feel that way. And I can back it up with you and other research to show you why it didn't happen. You know what I mean? It's not just it didn't happen because it didn't happen. It didn't happen because I know why it didn't happen. Now, Pimpin', I got to tell you this too. Are you excited about the new club coming out here pretty soon? We got it out now.
Yeah, there's a million things going through my mind about, the different platforms or the different things to offer on the platform. I know some of the things I kicked around with Miss April because the more I do research, and the funny thing is this, I really am not, still to this day, I'm not sold 100% on cryptocurrencies. I'm not a huge fan of cryptocurrencies, but there are a lot of things out there to get excited about that I didn't realize was there.
Ways to make money, right?
Free money. I was chatting with a damn kid. This kid's a teenager. He was telling me he makes like $400 a day. And I said, well, what the hell do you do? There's like a multitude of different ways in which you can get free currency. And this is what he does all day long. And I thought, this is a kid. This is that new generation. They know about this kind of stuff. I mean, there's adults out there too, but there's different ways in which you can get these coins for free. There's different things you could do. I mean, I like a perfect example is from Coinbase. They tell you to download this Brave search engine. I got the Brave on, and I've already been, just for having it on and watching videos on YouTube, which is what I do a lot of. I've already earned back coins just for having that search engine, and it goes right into my account. So it's stuff like that. It's and there's a lot of people who are interested in one thing we talked about, and that is there are people who are interested in learning more, but the truth of the matter is they don't get involved because it just looks complicated, and there is a lot of crap, and it can be very confusing. But that's something that our platform is going to be able to break out for people. Let's just walk people, take them by the hand. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's what the
scenarios.
And that's what the buying group is about. And I spent all afternoon on the phone with Jan. Jan is going to be a part of the buying group. She's going to be setting up trust. She's going to be doing consultative things. Miss BB's going to be doing consultative things with the cryptocurrency side of it. And you know what, y'all? I'm not talking about cryptocurrencies on my channel past today. I'm not. It's not my thing. I'm trying to learn about it. That's my wife's thing. I'm giving her all the power. She wants to do that on the new platform, and so do I. And the reason why I'm doing it on the new platform is because the seriousness of it and the level of people that you got coming on, like that guy right there and his lovely, lovely lady, Miss Smiley, them coming on is the reason why different platform, and we're going to introduce that platform right now. Now, I've got to say without further ado, because I'm super excited. I'm super excited. Okay?
I don't know how you can't be.
Can you hear me? He can hear me.
I can hear you.
No, he can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, Ben can hear me. Okay, so let's do
Robert,
this.
can you hear us?
Ben can hear me. What I might have to do is I might have to go back to the old reliable here of plugging in my headphones. Pimpin', I got to let you go for a second. We got to see if I can get them connected. I got Ben and Pimpin', I got you a little favor, brother. And I got to tell you, I got to tell this too for Ben and Miss Smiley on the phone. I got you a new friend to play with. Guess what he does? He's the leading specialist for buying precious metals in the whole North American continent. He's based out of Canada. And guess what?
Ooh.
He's going to do an interview with you, me, and him on the new platform.
Oh, yeah, I'm on it. Yeah.
I already knew. Yeah, and he says, I cannot wait to talk to your friend Pimpe. I was like, no.
I go on by and I'll hear Charlie Brown's teacher, but as soon as I hear gold and silver, I stop and I go, what did they say?
And I got him just for you.
All right, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, brother. Have a good one now.
Do your thing and I'm going to listen.
Okay, bro. We'll talk in a little bit.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye.
So have Ben call your phone or
Okay.
call Ben.
Ben, I'm going to call your phone like we did last time, and I'm going to plug in my thing. So you got to talk slowly, right? So plug this in your ear.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So that way I can hear you, and you can hear me.
You not hear me?
I'm going to call you.
Or he's like he might be.
He might be calling you. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna have to call you back, bud.
Okay,
Mr.
here we
Rob,
go. Here goes the phone call.
Call you right back. Hello, hello.
Hey, there he is. Hey, Ben.
I don't know why you cannot hear me.
You were talking earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody give us the thumbs up if you can hear Ben?
If you can hear Ben, please let us know.
Yeah, Pempe said we can hear him.
Okay, and I can hear you too.
That's pretty good. I hear Caesar used to give a thumbs up or down.
We're gonna get this thing right eventually. You know that, right?
I know that, and that's part of what this whole thing will end up being. Is I mean, it's a test run, and since you're new to coming on, the first month can be just, I mean, looked at as almost as just a complete test, because until we find out what works and what doesn't work, then I mean, how else are we gonna know? I have a pretty good idea for the most part, but in your case, I mean, you're learning with some of it, but you will have this thing in like 30 days.
Okay, so let's talk about this. We are introducing now, I think it's going to be called one of the very first cooperative channels, right? Would you call it
Correct.
that? The channel is going to be launched on Patreon. It's called Mr. Brando's Club. It's a wealth club. And what a wealth club means is that I want to get people involved that can invest in projects or invest in certain investment projects that is all about ascertaining wealth right now. I am not going to stop doing the Iraqi Dinar on this channel with the same vigor and the same enthusiasm. But some of the things that I really want to say, which I feel that are being censored on here, I'm going to say it in a different way. And I'll be a little bit more candid on this private platform. But I'm still going to give you guys every effort of my being for Iraq. And that will not change. I'm not shortening the shows. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. But if you want to start making money today, tomorrow, the next day, join Mr. Brando's Club. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's in Patreon. Join Patreon. And it is a paid subscription. And the reason why that is because of the caliber of people like Ben and like Robert and like Jan. They got to have an audience that wants to be engaged, that is serious about it and not trolled. So with that, Ben, do you want to kind of tell about the platform we set up a little bit, or Miss BB, you or something?
Well, first,
go ahead, Ben. You tell them.
Funny thing, I brought on, this is Mrs. Smiley. I brought her on. I told everybody in my group about 2.5 months ago that I was going out to California for treasure, and that was absolutely true. She's sitting right here. And so I brought her back. Everybody thought it was something else or gold. And at the time, brought her back. And this is my girlfriend. My girlfriend and I will be working together. She's going to be scheduling interviews for you and I both throughout the partnership. And she's going to be setting up consultations moving forward through. Last night, I revamped the entire Patreon and got rid of all the tiers and put new tiers up, new pricing, lower pricing, as a request by a lot of our Patreon members. So we brought that in, but I wanted to at least introduce her. There's several areas that I am not good with. One of them is scheduling appointments and keeping dates on time and track and customer service. So we brought her in, and she's going to be working with us specifically for handling customer service. She's going to handle the Patreon. She's going to handle the interviews, and then she's going to handle any questions anybody might have. She's also in the Telegram groups that we have. So I'll leave it there for now, but she wanted to say hi. And
hi, everyone.
Hey!
Really excited to work along you and Ben and
first time being on video.
It's my first time being on video.
Well, the camera loves you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and welcome.
And welcome. Welcome to the family. This is such an awesome joint venture. This is going to be so much fun. I don't know. I know everybody ends up fighting or tearing each other down or doing these negative things to impact their channels. And you know what? For the first time, we're going to take a channel, 2 channels, and basically call it one channel, but allow people to say, you know, we're not in competition with each other. We want to help each other. And in helping each other, we're going to help thousands more people.
Correct. And that's the whole idea. And I think having that reinforcement for each other, and that's the way it should be between YouTube creators. But I don't think I've ever seen that. other than going on an interview with someone else, but they don't actually form and work together. And you
Right.
cover the fiat side, you cover precious metals. I believe there's some stocks in there.
Yep.
You have the most up-to-date news. You're the only person I've seen that actually has physical documentation to back up your claim. Everybody else I've ever seen that talks about Iraqi dinar is flat out full of crap. Some of the stuff that I get, I had just after Nancy Pelosi signed the executive order for the bits parts. Oh, I can't pronounce it. But after she signed and Charles Schumer signed that, that was sent to me 10 minutes later by a top officer from the Army Corps of Engineers. And then we got the news announcement the following day on the $2 trillion. And I can think of about 15 different areas that worth that $2 trillion will be implemented. And they can all be investment opportunities that I'm personally looking at. So I can't give financial advice and nothing is to be taken as such. However, if I'm going to naturally invest my specific standards and what I'm going to put them in, then why wouldn't I share my diary with everyone else? And so that's huge. And with us together doing close to the same sort of thing, it's I can't imagine it wouldn't be fantastic.
A dumb question is going to be, a lot of people are asking what the cost of it's going to be. I have an initial offering out there on Patreon. You can go out there on Patreon. Did you post it?
I did.
Miss BB posted it.
I posted in the group, in the chat, and I'm going to post it in the description box below.
Okay, and a lot of people are going to give us a lot of crap about it, right? They're going to say,
a ton of crap. And there's tons of trolls. And if I told everybody, I tell a few people in my group today, I said, well, I don't like what you're doing. I said, okay, well, you don't have to be there. I set this thing up to be a hobby and to have fun and to help as many people as humanly possible in the process. I've learned, probably made all the mistakes that I could probably make, and I'm sure there's some in the future. I'm not perfect, but I will always try my very hardest. And if somebody has a question or needs help with something, and in a lot of cases, I'm being literate here. 60 to 110 hours every single week for the last year and a half, doing nothing but investments, compounding interest, Rule 72, which is in banking. There's 72 stones on the back of the pyramid. The dollar bill stands for something. Everything together, but mixed with what you're doing, I don't know how this can't be amazing.
Okay, now here's something for you guys. I see a lot of people saying, I'm out, I'm out, I'm out. Well, you know what? Then you were never in. I hate to tell you this. I don't want to. I'm going to give a spoiler alert. I'm not going to reveal anything, but to get the caliber of person that we're going to bring to the social media platform, I can't put them on YouTube. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't come on. They want to be where they can be personable, where they can talk about things, where they're not going to have their feet to the fire. And YouTube, unfortunately, they don't do that. I've had friends whose channel lately say, hey, I'm gonna close down your channel because of the stuff you're talking about. On this new private group, y'all, we can invest in ourselves. The person that did my theme song, part of the group. The person that did my website, part of the group. My partner, Ben, part of the group. A paid member of the group. I'm a paid member of his group. April's a paid member. Good information ain't free, and free information ain't good.
And we'll employ each other.
And we're going to employ each other, and we're going to well share.
Right.
And that's how it's going to work.
But the whole part of this that I see, and usually when it involves money, is friendships get lost, or there's issues, but the biggest thing I've found is when money's involved, people change. And they turn into something different than who they were when they started. And so I'm all back to the basics with this. It doesn't matter if we're bringing in $5,000 a month or $50,000. I don't care. Bills have to be covered, of course, but I'm having fun and we're helping in the process. That's what it's supposed to be about. That's not the way it is. But yeah, you can't work for free. Doctors and lawyers go to school for their career. People go to school for certificates and trades and all different kinds of skills, but you don't have to be greedy in the process. We have a news group, and in that news group, we share, in my opinion, and I'm in the cryptocurrency world I'm up there with cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
And in my humble opinion, we share more news articles relating to everyday events going on with federal regulation and taxes, cryptocurrency, new ICOs that are being launched, if they're being launched. I haven't seen any other platform anywhere else. It's a Telegram group. It's $5. I'm not getting rich off $5. I have an administrator in the group, and for the last several months, the administrator gets the take of it. So we don't even get anything from it. But to be able to have that and help people and show that it's there, I think that's pretty phenomenal, because I haven't seen anybody else doing it. And what we're going to have from that, I gave your administrators exclusive access to the groups, so that if they see something that is pertinent information, it will be shared. If I'm not available, if Miss Smiley's not available, it will be shared whether I'm there or not. And that way, everybody gets the important information on the drop of a dime and doesn't have to question whether or not it's going to be there.
And if somebody wants to come on the platform, and I'll go out there and say this now, I've already asked my administrators to do it. If none of them take the ball, I'm going to reintroduce it to you guys. If you join the group and you want to make some extra money, you want to go back and forth between the two programs and post the news, I'll hire you. I'm all about putting people to work and putting people to get money and get wealth that are with us. If you're not with me, you ain't with me. I get it. I'm cool with that. But if you're cool with us and you want to get wealth and you want to see your life change, you want to employ Americans, you want to have more taxpayers and no more taxes, then damn it, come on board. Let's make some money and have some fun.
There's I don't know if anybody heard it today, but just to throw it out there as a little extra, I wanted to get Robert on the line, because Robert has a brilliant mind, like Mrs. Smiley and yourself, but he has this ability that he catches stuff that you and I wouldn't normally catch.
Right.
And so he's sitting behind the scenes up in front of the computer right now, writing these fine details down, which we discussed. I believe Pepe would do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to get one of them on the line to ask questions. You have your comments in your section, I'm sure. There's quite a few. Need to answer some questions for the people. And then we need to cover the topics of things that we're not thinking about, regardless of if you're at a lower level or you're at a higher level or you're anywhere in between. It doesn't matter, because I think everybody could actually get the help that they need. And that's part of setting this whole thing up, whether you're trying to set up a Nobu cryptocurrency or whether you're trying to see where to place your income for stocks. I'm sure you have a personal opinion as to where you would place your money if you had X or Y or Z or.
And can I say this with that?
Yeah.
I am not Merrill Lynch. I am not JP Morgan Chase. So I went out there and found a stock expert, okay, that is going to come on the show 2 to 3 times a month and explain our position, why we're doing it, okay? And they're going to say, hey, the reason why we bought these stocks is for these reasons. And it's going to be an expert, someone that teaches economics at a college level to people. You see what I'm saying? So it's not me just giving my opinion. I've got experts that are coming on board. The world's largest buyer of precious metals in North America coming on board. I've got the world's leading resource in cryptocurrencies with you and Robert on the Ben and Robert and Matrix Oracle on there. Miss Smiley setting up the world's premier interviews. I've got Miss BB willing to give up her time and do consultation. I got Pempe doing out stuff. I got Babe being a moderator. I got Daza being a moderator. I got every piece of information. I got Jan coming on board, introducing her cryptocurrency to us at a buy-in level, plus her habitat. And then she's got 5 of them she wants to introduce. I want to provide a service that helps people.
Yep.
And helping people, you gotta help grease the wheel. You know what? Love makes the world go round, but money greases the wheel. I'm sorry.
Okay, right.
Yep, that's very true.
Oh yeah. Wheelman said, you making money, then take this off YouTube and go mainstream. Help globally. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help us ascertain farming projects, ascertain wealth, like the wealthy get wealthy. And I don't want to be on YouTube for the rest of my life. And I know Ben doesn't either. I'd love to be sitting on CNBC or on MSNBC or on my own or on Vice and be telling everybody advice based upon our knowledge. But you know what? They ain't called us to hire us yet. So until we make enough of a splash, we're going to go ahead and do this first.
Let me throw something out. I don't think I even talked to you about it, but we've been doing this. I set this up been doing it 3.5 to 4 years, and I had a stock market accountant come in through Robert, and this guy is the officer of the Corps Engineers, the guy I was just talking about with the executive order. He put my strategy on a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. It's literally 4 sentences. And in those 4 sentences, it uses banking rule 72 for compounding interest. 3 days a week, we give trade calls in our Telegram group. That's for the trade room. And if somebody came in, just an average person, didn't know a whole lot about cryptocurrency or trading, within 1 week, they would be a novice trader. We've put together step-by-step videos of how to do it. And if they still need help, guess what? We're here. But an average person coming in within 2 weeks, if they use the strategy on the spreadsheet, they don't have to get all 5 calls we give 3 days a week. If they only got 1, 3 days a week would equal up to $269,000 in 1 year, just from banking rule 72. We asked $30.
And here's my other thing, because I know April keeps saying don't look at these people out here. I will say this, and I understand this, because I have Dinar, they follow me. Well, that's not necessarily true. Because I give good information, that's why they follow me. If they believe in the information so soundly that they want to invest in something that I'm going to invest in and make money off of it, God bless them. This ain't for everybody, okay? This is for people that can do it. And you know what? I started off with my cryptocurrency buy this morning. You can ask Miss BB. It was $50. I had $50, and I said, April, what should I buy this morning? Because you know what? I want to get better. And I asked her to coach me up.
Yep.
So
doesn't matter even if you get out of school and you're a college graduate and you have degrees and master's degrees. You're still going to constantly be learning every single day. It's 4 years. I thought I knew everything there is to know about cryptocurrency, and then I wake up the next day and boom, get smacked across the face. But I didn't know that. So you're constantly still learning, no matter what level you get to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have Robert give you a call real quick because you wouldn't be able to hear him on my line. We brought him on the line when we started the show, so he would be there, but he is not there.
Hold on, that might be him right there. Hold on, let me see. Hello?
He's gonna have to
Is
get
there anything you can think of that wasn't covered so far or might help other people and questions they would have?
I believe that
I'm trying to merge him, y'all.
Oh, by the way, people probably want to know, when I did the John Kim video with Litecoin, this is Mrs. Smiley, which is very good friends with Mr. John Kim, was able to connect the dots to get us that interview. I believe you went out to dinner with them not too long ago, yes?
Yeah, that was sometime in last year around the Litecoin Summit, which was held in San Francisco.
What was the event coming up this year for cryptocurrency? Is it CryptoCon or what's it called?
A Litecoin Summit is going to be combined or right next to CryptoCon, which is now going to be held in Las Vegas, but I believe it's somewhere September, October, so just keep an outlook for it.
It's a major event with Litecoin's going to be there, which was talked about. Okay. And there's going to be several other cryptocurrencies that I would imagine would be there.
Okay, y'all, I got to open up my phone real quick because I don't think they're going to be able to hear.
Or no, you can answer from here, actually. You know that? That's what you could do.
Oh, okay.
If Robert calls, answer from here and then play it.
Hey, Robert, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you from my iPad, and I'm going to put Robert on the phone so you can hear. I'm going to see if I can just, first of all, should I just try to disconnect this so we can hear?
Hear who?
So you can hear. Okay, let me see if I can do this real quick. Robert, you there? Okay, Robert's gone. Okay. Okay, Ben, there you are. Okay. So let me see if I can get Robert on the phone here.
But you're going to have an echo.
We'll give it a green light.
Here you go.
See, you hear that echo? So the Oregon number.
I got his number here.
2 minutes. Hey, hang on. I'm going to put Brando on the phone.
Trying to see if I can get Robert on the phone. There he is. It's coming. Try to call him through our link right here. See if that works. No, stay on the phone.
It's dead.
Oops.
Okay.
Hello?
Are we there?
It's going to answer through here.
Robert.
Hello? Can you hear me? They can't hear me.
You got to turn the volume up here.
Robert, are
I
you
think
there?
I turned it down.
Can you guys hear me?
Robert, are you there? Holy crap.
Answer it.
Hello?
There you go.
Okay, so hang on here.
4 people. and we
Hang on,
cannot
guys.
operate a phone.
I'm going to get you guys added.
Yeah, you can probably add them through there.
I am.
Just pray for no feedback.
Matrix Portfolio Research Center.
Okay, brother, I got you on the line. Let me add our partner here back on here, and let me see what I can do. So add a call. Let's do this here. Boom.
You don't have to wear the earpiece until.
It's okay.
I was thinking you could.
Are you happy, extra happy about something that I don't know about? Sure, smiling a lot.
Okay, I'm calling you both back. So hang on. I'm going to get you back both on. Can you hear? You have to plug these in so you can hear.
Right. Did he hang up on there?
No, so he's answering the phone.
Matrix
No.
Portfolio Research
Okay,
Center.
so here we go. I merged you back together. Can you hear me now?
Hello, hello.
Okay, so
Bravo 98.
okay, so leave yours open right there. Ben, leave your phone. Don't plug it. Don't just use it. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So now we can hear them and you can hear. So go ahead. Let's go ahead and get to these last couple questions real quick.
Robert. We can hear you. Do you have any questions that you think would be pertinent to the members that are currently watching? We wanted to bring you on and Pempe on to ask questions so that you cover both sides of things that maybe we didn't think of or cover in the time of being nervous.
Well, I think being able to define and define the platform at this point first of all, Mr. Brando Club Patreon, the Matrix Portfolio Patreon, and what we're doing. Mr. Brando did well at explaining exactly what we're doing there. You know, it's like you said, Ben. If we're not having fun, you weren't going to do it. If you looked at it just like a job, you're not going to do it anymore.
No.
And this is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, and it's a tremendous learning curve. Especially when we have so much new coming to cryptocurrency. And you look at the amount of news or articles, it can be overwhelming. So establishing these platforms to be able to help everyone is crucial. And along with the educational and instructional videos that are already there and available to the members is going to be extremely helpful in this learning curve and should make it much easier. Just took hours and hours and hours to put together.
Thousands of hours so far. Yeah. Well, there's 3 Telegram groups. There's a newsroom, there's a trade room, and there's what we call the VIP, which is exclusive for certain information. Every month I issue a report, and that report has to do typically within the next 12 months. Been at $144 for the last 6-8 months, and I have 4 coming on with this partnership with Brando, as well as the members that we've had prior said, you know, if it was just a little bit lower, I said, okay, so we'll lower it. So we're asking $92 for the newsroom, which is 24/7. The trade room, which is 3 days a week. Most people will tell you they make back their subscription from the Patreon the very first trade. And there's still 3 other weeks left in the month. So that's pretty hot. And then the VIP. And so April, I believe you said you had a bunch of people that were interested in cryptocurrency and coming on board, and that if we had a way to educate them, it would make this whole thing a lot easier. So with
Yes.
what you guys already know, and Brando says you're an expert yourself, just with everybody that's in the group that we've already talked about, yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a good club. I think if personally, if it were me and I was somebody watching, I think it's a steal for what's being offered between you guys, us, and all of the affiliates in between. I think it's amazing. But
I'm definitely excited to talk about crypto. As everyone probably knows by now, XRP and XLM are one of my top 2 coins. I can't wait to teach people how to enter in the crypto space and put out how to set up their Coinbase account. So I really want to help, everyone come over into a different area of wealth.
Yep. So I'll have to share some stuff with you when we get off the live stream. But I had videos set up, so if you didn't know anything about anything, you could watch one. They're like 10 minutes. There's 3, and you watch them a couple of times. Within a week, you're gonna know exactly how to buy Bitcoin, how to get it to an exchange, and how to make a trade. And once you have that down, this whole thing is so stupid easy. A caveman could do it. I think it's a big. When I first started, it took me a month. I got into it. I was trying to buy NIM, and I was thinking, oh, I'll just go right to the company and pay them, and they'll send me some. That's not how it works. So you have to go buy Litecoin or Ethereum or Bitcoin, because those are the only ones that these big companies have a license to sell or pass off to the public. And if you buy those, then you can get them into an exchange, which may have, I don't know, 60 to 100 to 300 different kinds of cryptocurrency, because a lot of people think it's just Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum. There's almost 2,200 different kinds of cryptocurrencies, whether it's for banking or whether it's for Delta Airlines. Literally every single company across the United States and other countries are trying to figure out how to develop out their own cryptocurrencies. You have the Federal Reserve of the United States, which developed a task force last year to start looking into developing blockchain to be used specifically as a possibility of replacement to the US dollar. And you have this task force came out, I believe, what was it, Robert, 3 or 4 months ago, and they very quietly stated that they have been privately working on their own blockchain for the last several months, which I think could be a lot longer, because they're not dumb. I think that there's companies out there that are partnered, and they may already have existing blockchains. And I believe that there is a list of blockchains out there that is not currently associated with what the public gets to see. And coming out here in the future, I think that list may slowly be leaked out to the public by the big corporations. But having the know, and like the news group that we have, nobody's just going to sit there and sift through 200 or 300 news articles just to pick out 1 or 2 in the morning and say, oh, well, this is what's really important. Or when you file your tax refund, do you know now you can get your tax refund back in Bitcoin? That was just off the news post from today. Ripple, how many were purchased? 2 to 4 or 6 million coins today?
Yeah.
And it has it.
There were tens of millions that were purchased today.
Yeah.
Literally.
And when does that price reflect on the coin market cap? You think about that? No. Well, tonight to tomorrow, you could see some movement on those charts. But if somebody's purchasing that kind of cryptocurrency, why isn't it showing up? And so we have answers for those sorts of things in the group. So not fair to give all of it away, but think about this. If you couldn't control the actual cryptocurrency, how could you control the prices? Well, it would have to be off of what's being shown to the public. So what if we took the circulating supply with how many's in circulation, and you ran the numbers on those? I'd be willing to bet you they don't add up. And why would they make this thing look lower than it really is? Maybe to buy more and more and more. Kind of think maybe with those numbers, Litecoin could be around $14,000 each today, but we're picking them up all day for about $60. So in the future, when the manipulation stops, I think a lot of people could just flat out retire. But what do I know?
A lot of the times too, when we are in the groups, because you combining this, you have the 101, the 201, the 301, and the 401. If you need the personal help, it's there. If you look at the number of cryptocurrency, the amount of cryptocurrency that's in that exchange, what we always say is, don't trip over dimes trying to pick up dollars.
True.
These prices are not what they really are showing. There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
And like the dinar, the e-dinar was one of them that I was looking into, and found out that there's some sort of tie with central banks to the e-dinar. And if the fiat gets revalued, which I believe based off of hardcore documentation, that the e-dinar, since the fiat for dinar, if that raises, which they've already done in what, small denomination, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, yeah. I lost you again.
Well, look at how strict.
No, it's
Look
small.
at how strict China is.
Oh my God! In small
Look at how strict
denominations,
China is.
if the fiat goes up, the cryptocurrency is going to go up. And right now they're what, 110 for a penny. And the actual true price of what those are, well, I was going to touch base on this. It was made for the Muslim community, and there's roughly 200,000. I have to get my calculator. There's roughly 200,000 Muslims just in Iraq, and then there's Iran, but there's all around the world. If 25,000 of these, it's like $100. If 25,000 were purchased by all 200,000 people, would come just under, I believe it's 700 billion. There's 1 trillion coins, and that number has been lowered because they burned coins to increase the equity or value in the actual cryptocurrency itself. But if you took every Muslim, gave him 25,000 coins, it would be so much higher than 1 trillion coins. It's what they have. People ask me all the time, how can this be worth only? How can there only be 1 trillion? They're never going to get purchased. They're never going to get purchased. Do you know how much money is floating? You know that Deutsche Bank in derivatives alone has close to $1 quadrillion. You have food stamps and Medicaid and welfare and all these. The soup kitchen is food stamps today. They just don't call it that. If you took all of these things together and put them together, each country has its own set of black budget program. Everything together and put that on blockchain would probably equal somewhere around 20 to 40 quadrillion dollars. And then I have people ask me, do you really think that Stellar is going to be bought up with their 10 billion coins? That is, what? Yeah, they're going to be bought up because you have all countries of Earth and in the world coming on board.
Well, guys, I hate to say this like this. We're going to have to shut it down tonight. We've gone a little long. We're about 1.5 hours right now. Woo! But just note that me and Miss BB are going to probably come out with a post tomorrow on the new website. We're adding everybody onto the new chat site that is joined to Telegram that is joined, right? You're going to have access to ask Ben questions. You're going to have access to ask April questions. You're going to have access to ask Robert questions. You're going to have me anyway. I've got to make a few phone calls after the fact, but I just want to say thank you guys for partnering with us. This is so special. Jan's coming on board. We're going to have her links up there. We're going to launch MrBrando.com here in a couple hours. It's all going to be good. And so I just want to tell you guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we're going to collab so much. I'll talk to you a little bit, but thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy evening from your kids and from everything you guys do. I mean, seriously. Everything you do from your own channel to take 20, 30 minutes out for our channel and to help our people. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
We invited our members on. I'd have to say thank you as well. This is the first time I've never once asked if my YouTube channel for people to watch a live stream. So I imagine there is a few people. So I thank you guys for coming on and watching, and thank everybody for the continued support. And I'm excited to keep working with you. I think
this is just the beginning.
It is. We'll do more updates and posts, and then we'll move forward from here.
And here's something good news, y'all. We've had probably 4 people join?
Yeah.
We had 4 people join the Guru group, the Kanga Guru group, since we started this live stream. So thank you guys. We're going to put out a video tomorrow, right, for that group. We're going to come out with our first video for that tomorrow, just a little introductory thing.
And
we'll talk. Yeah, it's going to be epic. So I'll talk to you guys later on. I'll talk to you, the Kangaroo Crew, gang, later on. You guys have a great evening, and we'll talk Friday about Iraq.
Yep, Robert, thank you for coming on. Pepe, thanks for giving a talk. April, Brando, I'm excited.
Miss Smiley.
Miss Smiley, thank you.
Thank
You guys are
you.
cute.
They're a cute couple.
They
They're
are a
cuties.
cute couple.
And
All
thank, hey, my
And
brother from the Couve, that's my boy right there from Vancouver, the WA. Gang from my home state. You know what it is. I love you guys.
Good night.
Good night.